And welcome back to the New York Giants franchise rebuild. Here today, we have another off season as we have our third off season of this series rebuild as we are entering into year 4. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and let me know what you guys think we should be doing and if I make any sort of mistakes. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and of course, like the video, it means a lot. For the New York Giants, we're coming off of a 10-7 record, going 1-1 to the postseason after winning the division. John Sherman, for lack of a better words, was a gunslinger this past offseason, throwing 31 touchdowns to 25 interceptions. You know, at the end of the day, I am sticking, of course, with Sherman. There's no ifs, buts, or ands about it. But I need to be able to really support him. Sherman needs help. 1,200 yard season for David Montgomery with 18 scores also. Neighbors had 1,000 yards. Theo Johnson had a breakout season. Our pass rush got home a lot. It was nice to see. But it's time to change up this roster a little bit and really have some fun here. Let's start off looking at some retirements, and then we'll kind of get a little deeper. So we're looking for any sort of Giants players. You know, we see Cooper Kupp retire. That's probably Matthew Judon is another big one. Grady Jarrett, Aaron Rodgers. Dalvin Tomlinson does retire. Jake Matthews as well. Joel Batoni. So Harrison Smith retires as well. So there's a good amount of big name players that I grew up watching. A lot of fun players. James Bradbury, he played for the Giants for a handful of seasons. But one retirement, I wasn't expecting too many. But if you guys are new to my channel, we're gonna do one of my favorite things, which we're gonna go player by player, and we're gonna kind of talk about position by position here today. And this is really the changes that we're gonna make. So this is the current state of the team. Dexter Lawrence is our best player, and slowly but yet surely Malik Neighbors is getting there. But as you guys can see, we have a bunch of next year's pretty big decisions to make. Just on this screen alone, we see Drew Phillips, Ryan Stonehouse, Tyler Nubin, Neighbors, we're probably gonna pick up the 5th-year option, but also Dexter Lawrence. We have a lot of guys, important key starters, needing new deals. And, you know, we have Brian Burns on a big contract. We have Kayvon Thibodeau, Andrew Thomas. And these are our 3 best players. And then you throw in Dexter Lawrence, you know, he's going to need a new $20+ million contract. So, and McFadden's deal is not small either. Regardless, our cap situation is still very good. We have to be smart with it. Thankfully, Sherman under the rookie scale contract, we still have 3 years of control with them. And I've talked about this here with John Sherman. You know, yes, is he an inconsistent quarterback? Absolutely. But I think supporting him with another offensive playmaker in terms of receiving ability, as well as getting continue giving him a consistent backfield and improving the offensive line, I think year 3 for Sherman is, of course, a make or break season. But I think we're also going to be setting him up for the most success. He is still our quarterback. He's still our guy. For the backup spot, this is where it kind of becomes a decision. You know, Zach Harris, he's the undrafted kid. Jameis Winston, do we decide to bring him back? I don't know just yet. He does have the mentorship. He has served a purpose. We'll see if we decide to keep him. But the backup quarterback position will be addressed at some point, just not early on. In terms of this running back room, and we now see the regression here for David Montgomery. He does go up to superstar development, which is probably helping out the regression a little bit. And one thing that I don't see is speed. I see one thing of agility. And I think still with these ratings, absolutely I would keep David Montgomery. I still think he has another good season left in him. Absolutely. In terms of the other backs on this team, Frank Gore Jr. most likely will test. Singletary, He served a solid role for this team, but I don't think that we're going to keep him. We'll see. He did lost 6 ball carrier vision. And then the young and our only running back currently on the roster, and Tyrone Tracy, 27 years old now. This is kind of his ceiling. You know, at the end of the day here in Madden, I think he's an excellent complementary piece. He will continue to do so. But he will not, we're not going to enter next year with him as our top back, regardless of his, in every category going up. He had his most carries and he had 130 yards more than he did a year ago. He had 3 more scores. He's had only 4 fumbles in his career. He broke 34 tackles this season. But I think Tyrone Tracy's a role player. So regardless, I need to help out this running back room. Throwing it over to these receivers, Malik Neighbors, we all know how good he is, but I am going to sit here and say, Neighbors, you need to become the legitimate superstar that you are in real life. We need him to be that dominant force as he enters now into year 4 of his career. I need a big season from him, even bigger than he already has. John Ware. Oh my goodness. This is going to be an interesting one here for Ware, as he does have an upgrade point. He has X Factor, but I don't know the long-term future of John Ware is on this team. I have plans for this offseason trying to bring in 2-star weapons, bring in a star offensive lineman, and John Ware might be a piece of capital that we look to trade to acquire something like that. At the end of the day, worst case scenario for Ware, he's our 3rd or 4th receiver. In terms of Wan'Dale Robinson, he's a fine receiver on this team. I actually really like him. I think he's played well throughout especially the last 2 years. I think he's an excellent complement to Malik Neighbors, and I do think that we made a smart decision by re-signing him last offseason. In terms of like Luke McCaffrey, Mike Evans, Demarcus Robinson, these guys are all probably going to go. Evans at 34 years old is now a 71 overall. I mean, at the end of the day, it was fun to bring him in for a season. He caught 3 touchdowns, went over 400 yards. He had a couple very big performances or big plays. Like, he had 4 games with over 26 yards or more. So Evans was a fun receiver for a season, but we need to find an upgrade, and receiver is definitely something I'm looking at. In terms of tight ends, I mean, we're gonna let Oliver and Smith probably go, but Theo Johnson had himself a breakout campaign, and he also has earned himself superstar development, and that's huge for us. He definitely deserves it. And at 26 years old, Theo Johnson still has room to maybe even get a little bit better. It definitely stings that he's already 26, but I think that he has some very good seasons up and coming. Maybe we find him a solid duo here at tight end. In terms of this offensive line, I am mostly thinking about our guard position. But I think Andrew Thomas had a bounce back season. We drafted a year ago Darnell Randall, and he is developing nicely. He will be continuing being our solid backup tackle for this team. Flipping it over here to the center position quickly. Simon Oliver, he's another player that I drafted. He's another player where I don't know where he kind of fits. He did prove this year that to be a solid contributor, but I don't need him to be a backup. I need him to potentially be a starter next year. But for insurance reasons, I decided to keep John Michael Schmidt, signing him to a 2-year deal. And yeah, it's a little bit more money, but Schmidt played very well this year. And with a little worse ratings, John Michael Schmidt is, in my opinion, played better while usury. Throwing it over to the guards, Darnell Parma, Anthony Branford, both needing new deals. We'll have to make decisions on them. Starting off here with Branford, I think he was an excellent in terms of run blocking. That would be the only reason to re-sign him, is because of the fact that he's a dominant run blocker. But other than that, he's not the best in terms of pass blocking. Darnell Parman, he was brought in to potentially be the starter all year. And with these ratings, I thought that he could be. And he proved me very much wrong. He did not play well in the preseason, and he very much quickly became the backup. When we flip it over to our tackle position, Taylor Moton thankfully did not regress too heavily. He's now down to an 82 overall and a little bit of blocking, but he is still very good. And Taylor Moton, you know, we went into last offseason wanting a big-time running back. We got it with Montgomery. We wanted a big-time tackle. We got it with Moton. And we got a big-time #1 quarter in Christian Branford. In terms of Evan Neal, who's been primarily playing at guard, I think he had a solid year. He's developed okayly. I might try to get an upgrade over him, but still 26 years old. He can continue to develop for us, and he has still 2 years on his deal. He's a solid option for our offensive line. We extended Kayvon Thibodeau, as we flip it over to the defense, to a 6-year contract extension. Thibodeau got all the way up to now an X Factor. He definitely earned that. He is a top 5 pass rusher, or at least a left end, in our league. And he is definitely someone that I'm not looking to replace anytime soon. I debated about it, if he could have been a trade piece, but he broke down and he deserves the contract that he got. Matthew Young, I think he proved to be a solid 4th edge rusher on a team. He picked up a sack. With these ratings, they're okay enough. Maybe we get him a little competition, but at the end of the day, I'm looking just for depth, mostly for this defense. For Brian Burns, he's had back-to-back seasons now with 9.5 sacks. He's still an X Factor, guys. But from his first year with us, he played perfectly. He played like Kayvon Thibodeau just did. And now he's kind of just this solid piece of this defensive line. I don't know. I mean, I assume that he will probably play out his contract, but I don't know if Brian Burns is really a long-term player on our defense. Flipping over here to Jonathan Cooper, who had some regression, but he's earned star development, which is nice to see. But Jonathan Cooper, being our 3rd edge rusher, proved massively valuable. 9 sacks, 15 TFLs, and he played significant snaps for us. I mean, he played 539 snaps. That's very important. And I don't think we're going to be focusing on the depth. No, we'll get some depth, but we're not going to be paying any sort of 3rd edge rusher or anything. Flipping it over here to the defensive tackle room, Dexter Lawrence, in my opinion, had a quieter season. He's had a couple quiet seasons with us, so that he had a very good season 2 years ago. But I'm not looking to replace Dexter Lawrence. He's still a great player. I think he is extremely valuable for our defense. But the player that we have to make a decision on here is Elijah Chapman, 26 years old, run stopper. He plays a good amount of snaps, and he's a solid piece. I don't know. This is going to be a decision later on. But the guy that's looking to replace him is a guy that I drafted, Leonard Sapp. If the game will load. Leonard here has also played significant snaps. Younger by 3 years, cheaper in terms of contract. Ratings-wise, definitely, I would say he is more, Sapp here is a little bit more athletic. Well, actually, no. Chapman has excellent speed. Chapman is just a more well-rounded player at this point in his career. Regardless, I don't know just yet what we're going to do with Chapman. In terms of linebackers, we have to make a decision here on Bobby Okereke. Regardless, you know, this is probably the one positional group on the defensive side of the ball that we might have to make a signing, a big signing potentially, or drafting something. Because Okereke is 31 years old. He is regressing. Not as heavily as I thought he would. So maybe I look to keep Okereke. He's a very good middle linebacker. The other option that we could go down is, you know, we sign someone and we start Isaiah Simmons there, or maybe Jamie Davis. But Isaiah Simmons, in my opinion, he's much more of a third linebacker on a team regardless, so it would just give me too much. It would be too much of an issue in my opinion. Of course, Micah McFadden here, in my opinion, had a fantastic season. I'm surprised that he did not go up at that trade, but he's one of our best defensive players, no doubt, on our roster. Captain of this defense. He posted up his most tackles, second most TFLs, picking up 3 sacks as well. And yeah, he has a big contract, but it's not like a lot of these other inside linebackers that could make close to $20 million. So that's nice to see. Flipping it over here now to the secondary. We know Banks, Cordell Flop, and Trey Hawkins will probably all have to test, but Christian Branford here, who we brought in on a very cheap 4-year contract. Keep that in mind here, guys. This is not a lot of money for a corner that just picked up 9 interceptions, including playoffs. The player though to talk about here in the secondary is Drew Phillips. 25 years old, entering the last year of his deal, and he has been wildly inconsistent. Phillips, in year 1, picked up 3 interceptions, in my opinion, played like our best corner. Well, next year, he kind of continued to show that he was our best corner, but he also showed to be a liability. This year, he didn't play in as many games, and he showed to be much more of a liability. I don't know what to feel about Drew Phillips. Is he a guy that I should try to upgrade over? Is he not? I don't know just yet. But the other player to talk about here is Demetrius Evans. I know he's coming off an episode of allowing, 5 catches, $130, and 3 scores to DJ Moore, but that's DJ Moore. Evans is a pure defensive back, and last year's first round pick, 20th overall, I think he's a superstar waiting to be unleashed, in my opinion. This secondary, I'm gonna try to get some depth for them, but I'm not looking to really upgrade over our top 3 corners or our safeties. Derek Parks here was our second ever drafted player. In my opinion, he's played very well. He's played well in terms of stopping the run, in terms of coverage. He's just been a very good secondary. I want to see more interceptions with that 76 catching rating. He's only picked up 1 apiece, but as you can see, tackles went up. TFL, sack, interception, forced fumble too. I like Derek Parks. Tyler Nubin, as he is a superstar still. I don't think he dealt with more regression. Wow. This is back-to-back years here for Tyler Nubin to be regressing already. He lost, some man coverage, some hit power, and a little bit of zone. That's a tough pill to swallow. I think Nubin is a very good safety for us, but he's regressing. And I guess he did have less tackles and less TFLs, and he's only had 1 interception. A year ago, he picked up 5, so maybe the regression is warranted. Regardless, I'm not looking to replace him. He's still very good. And next year, Jamie Newman, who comes out as a superstar development. I didn't even know that. With the 99 hit power, this kind of intrigues me and maybe even changes my direction at linebacker. I always looked at Jamie Davis as a potential linebacker or sub linebacker in our defense. And I love these Swift Army Knives type of players. So maybe Jamie Davis gets a bigger role because of that development trait. I think the last player that we don't know his depth trait is Richie Stranger, and he is also a superstar development kicker. 99 kick power. I'm just terrible at kicking, guys. I don't know what it is. I went 13 of 16, 38 of 40 of extra points, so 5 in total missed, but still, it's just bad. Well, after going through the roster, let's go make some decisions, guys. $78 million, and we have to make decisions on free agents and upcoming free agents. Like Malik Neighbors, 5th-year option. What do we want to do here with Malik? He's 24 years old, so his new contract will start when he's 26. It's $27 million. He does want to be here. The only thing he doesn't like is our winning percentage, but that's because year one we went 1 in like 16. You know, it's a big market and everything. So do we roll the dice and say we could re-sign Neighbors to a, you know, a long-term deal? Or do we give him this $27 million and hope that it's not to that extreme? Regardless, I'm going to give it to him. I want this team control. So Neighbors picks up the 5th-year option. For Devontae Banks here, he now wants a 3-year, $19 million. I just don't see myself wanting to keep him. Maybe on a 1-year deal, I would consider it, but I'm not going to do anything just yet. That might be a move I make before we end this. Singletary, I'm not going to negotiate with. I think he served his purpose, and that's it. Okereke, a 2-year, $20 million. He has no interest in coming back. I'm going to let him test. For David Montgomery, this is a contract that I want to work on. A 1-year deal. Sure, $4.5 million. Come back to us. David Montgomery does re-sign. This was simple. I needed to make sure that for starters, I don't think Montgomery regressed as hard as it looks. And I think, regardless, we should still add another back to this backfield. We still have $74 million to work with. The franchise tag on Okereke would be 19. For Mike Evans, we're going to let him test. Thank you for your services. Elijah Chapman, we'll come back to him. Anthony Branford, we're going to let test as well. Same thing with Cordell Flop, Luke McCaffrey. Darnell Palmer will also test. Trey Hawkins will test, yep. Lewis Seen, he's like an excellent special teamer, and these two guys I might look to bring back just for special teams, but for now, I'm going to let them test. Frank Gore Jr., I tried to make it work, but he will test as well. Josh Oliver will test. Irv Smith will test. Zach Pond, these guys are all depth players. Kevin Byard, he served his purpose. Jameis Winston, we might try to get an upgrade at quarterback. And then for Robinson here, he will also test as well. That leaves us Elijah Chapman and Devontae Banks needing potential contracts. So let's start here, though, with Banks. I am going to offer him a 1-year contract, though I'm going to make this a 1-year, $6 million deal, but a lot more of it is just salary. So does he want to come back? He offers it, but he's going to just test out free agency. That's fine with me. I might still offer that to him in open free agency. For Elijah Chapman, who wants a 2-year deal, we are a playoff contender, but, you know, because of the fact that we have income tax, he doesn't want to be here. I guess that makes sense. Chapman's 26 years old, guys. I just don't see myself wanting to do this. We have Leonard Sapp. Chapman was a fun player. He was a fun story. He's also a fun story in real life. You know, he's increased his sack totals every year. He's a good player. It's just maybe an open free agency I look to bring him back, but I don't think so. The tag would be $28 million. I just can't do it. So no one we got David Montgomery to come back, but let's go open free agency and let's try to upgrade this team. As I stated at the end of last video, I'm looking to upgrade, you know, getting some more offensive weapons, increasing this offensive line, and getting depth for this defense. Either way, this is the current state of the team. You know, we need help at guard. We need another receiver. Players like John Ware and Simon Oliver could be traded as well. Who knows? You know, maybe even Tyrone Tracy. Joking about that, actually. And then defensively, helping out this linebacking room potentially, and then just depth across the board. That's really what we need to add for this defense. So let's go hit open free agency. And let's see if we can make any big moves here. Who is out there? Tyler Linderbaum, Javarius Ward, George Cavalis here, pass rusher, Trent Brown, Paris Johnson, Elton Jenkins. Wow. This is a much better free agent class than I was expecting. And with $73 million to work with, Tyler Linderbaum's out there. Same thing here with Elton Jenkins with no interest. Paris Johnson is out. There's offensive linemen. There's also Travarius Ward if we want to add another corner to this defense. You know, right now Jalen Hyatt looks to be the best offensive weapon. Don't know if we'll bring him back to the team. Checking on the running back position, I mean, you have Jamor Ford, Juba Hubbard, Joe Mixon. I mean, there's some talent, but I don't know just yet. But I think there's a couple contracts that I want to start off with, so let's go do it. As I got 3 targets to start this off: Tyler Linderbaum, Elton Jenkins, and Bobby Okereke. Trying to bring back Okereke. You know, 31 years old, still be a good starter. Trying to give Elton Jenkins a 2-year deal. Per year, it's $16 million, and a $14 million per season on a 3-year deal here for Tyler Linderbaum. So we're trying to help out this offensive line. The 2 linemen make a decision, and Elton Jenkins does come in. We lost Linderbaum. He goes to the Houston Texans. That team just keeps getting better. Steelers bring in Travarius Ward, as well as Paris Johnson. Banks is going to Seattle. Wow. And see, Elijah Chapman is joining him in Seattle. Why is Seattle signing all of our good players? And a couple other lower end players, but we got Elton Jenkins, and now Okereke is getting entrance from Pittsburgh. This is currently a 1-year deal. I'm going to keep it at a 1-year deal, and I'm just going to raise the money because of the fact that we have it now. I'm going to make this a very competitive offer. Let's see if I'll make any other offers out here. There is still a couple players, you know, could still think about Trent Brown. Rodney Stanley could be a solid option if we want to add in some other linemen. I am also going to try to go after Will Hernandez. So we're going to try to send another guard here and try to bring back also Okereke. Both make decisions. We got Will Hernandez, as Bobby Okereke will be going to Pittsburgh. He's joining up with a couple other big-time players, as Pittsburgh has been buyers here. And now linebacker becomes even more of a pressing, becomes one of our bigger needs, as we've improved the offensive line, but you know, we have yet to really help out either the receiver position, which there really wasn't any, as well as getting a quality back. I just don't see anyone out here. Devontavius Wicks could be a fun option, but at the end of the day, I just don't think that there's someone out here that I could really utilize. In terms of tight end, I mean, one of these guys we could bring in, but I don't want to do that. Running back, yeah, so free agency might just be Will Hernandez and Elton Jenkins, though I am going to now try to make a couple trades. And a deal has been made. Here today, we are trading Simon Oliver and John Ware with a next year's 2nd round pick and 2 years from now, 4th round pick to the Atlanta Falcons to acquire Drake London. I decided to trade away probably our 2 best young, for one, trade pieces and role players on this team to acquire 26-year-old Drake London, who also has an upgrade. It has a skill point. 26 years old, he's a physical receiver. You know, London still needs some work in terms of his route running ability, but at the end of the day, he has excellent hands, he's explosive, and I think as a number 2 wide receiver, you know, he just could never really get the necessary help in Atlanta, and I'm taking a chance here. And yeah, I know trading away both John Ware and Simon Oliver definitely hurts. It hurts our depth in terms of offensive linemen. as well as receiver. John Ware was expected to be probably our 4th receiver. But I think we get ourselves a true legitimate number 2 wide receiver, a true legitimate third or number 2 option, and we're giving now John Sherman more support in terms of this passing game. I think with Neighbors, Wandale, London, and Theo, that is a very good 4 receivers. We might add another one in the draft. We don't give up any other assets, but it definitely hurts losing those 2 young stars in developing. And, you know, they will go to Atlanta now, and they'll become, you know, probably starters for this Falcon. I should have checked, but I believe they will become starters for this Falcons team. I mean, John Ware immediately becomes their number 2 wide receiver next to Pete Baylor here, who was drafted number 1 overall. So they have this excellent young duo now. And at center, Simon Oliver becomes a day 1 starter for them. So they get 2 starters. They get a couple future picks. Let's sim now to the next week in stage 2. I'm going to go out there and make some more targets here. We have a bunch. We're going to go after Leonard Williams, Chuck Clark, or Clark Phillips here, Antonio Gibson, Hunter Henry, Devin Bush, Tyler Huntley, and trying to bring back Jameis Winston. All of these are on 1-year deals. You know, these are just quality depth players that I want to add to the team, leaving us with $9 million if we get everyone. Now Leonard Williams is getting interest from the Raiders, so he's probably not going to come to us. But we did bring in Clark Phillips, Hunter Henry, and Tyler Huntley. So we have a new backup quarterback potentially, a solid number 2 tight end, and maybe another, you know, 4th quarter. But the one player here I don't really want to miss out on trying to bring in is Leonard Williams. He would be an excellent, you know, backup on this defense. So I'm going to increase that offer and see if Leonard Williams wants to join in. And he does. Leonard Williams signs that 1-year contract to join the Giants. So we did add in we add in quality depth. You know, Elton Jenkins is probably the big move for us, but, you know, bringing back Leonard Williams and Will Hernandez, 2 ex-Giants, and bringing in some quality depth here really should help us out. Bush and Jameis Winston both have to decide. But let's now turn our attention here to the NFL draft. And here's the draft class, guys. So, you know, at the end of the day, in this draft, we're looking to get as many first-round options. As we see here, we have a couple later-round guys in Philip Black and Steve Gore here. You know, we see a day 3 guy here, another offensive lineman. I did focus primarily on this line. And there is definitely a good amount of players that, you know, we know of. Man, Manuel Santed-Shear is a UDFA, but still. But we have a couple later round guys. I am looking at a receiver, a tight end, and a defensive tackle for our focus scouting. But let's turn to our attention to the NFL draft. So taking a quick look at the current state of the team. You know, we brought in Drake London. We signed Elton Jenkins, Will Hernandez. We've helped out the guard position. We, I think, stabilized or kept this running back very good with the addition of Antonio Gibson now. Gibson, 29 years old. He can do a little bit of everything. He can catch, he can run. I think it complements our backfield nicely. And then flipping it over here to the defense. We brought in Leonard Williams, maybe that other third defensive tackle from time to time. Devin Bush is here now. We brought in Clark Phillips. We added quality depth. I think in this up-and-coming draft, I mean, we could consider thinking about a linebacker, absolutely. We could consider drafting a lineman early just because we have 3 guys on, you know, 1 to 2 year deals. We could consider running back because we don't really have a future back. We could look at another receiver maybe. I'm not looking to trade up. I have the 25th pick. This 1 second, 2 threes, a 5, and a 6. I'm not looking to trade up. We only have 6 picks. I'm looking to get best player available, as the Tennessee Titans will hold the first pick. And the Titans will go QB Marquis Wade here. So quarterback goes first overall, as the Saints take a receiver in Truman here. And Truman is one of the better receivers. And now it's a safety that goes, the best safety. The Jets will go Mario Winters. Was not expecting him, and he was a very good receiver. I want to check his ratings. Defensive tackle goes next. Panthers are now on the clock. And they go corner here. One of my favorite players has already gone in Mario Weathers. Pass rusher goes here to the Seahawks, helping out their team as the Commanders add a tackle. Again, guys, I'm not really looking to trade up. I mean, maybe, probably not. Stain Bruce here goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he was actually my favorite tight end, potentially. QB goes to the Cardinals. Darnell Boyle, as a tackle, goes to the Patriots. I'm not trying to mess this year's up as well. CJ Cousins going to the Dolphins as they add a receiver. Back-to-back receivers go. Now it's a run on them, as the Eagles end it with a tackle. This is a very good tackle class, and I don't feel like they've been enough of them. Pass rusher goes to San Francisco. Luther Locke, one of my favorite defensive tackles, go to Pittsburgh. Another tackle going to the Chargers. The Bengals here go defensive tackle. So now the run goes. And breaking the run is the Falcons with a linebacker. Back to the run with tackle here as we enter in now into the 20s. Back-to-back tackles go now, as the Rams will keep up with that trend. So I don't know what's going to fall to us. Safety goes now. Sure, take all the safeties and corners you want. So we're on the clock now here at pick 25. Let's go see who's on the board and see who we could potentially add. There is a quarterback here. There's a pass rusher as well. But in terms of my favorite players, Tony Coleman here, tackle. He could be a fun option. We could consider drafting a running back here, maybe. He could be a very good addition to the backfield, definitely. Another tackle, some offensive linemen, and these are the players definitely that I will be considering here in this range. Which is really kind of just an offensive line. Unless we want to go defensive tackle here, I don't think there's really like a linebacker that I'm willing to take just yet. Maybe someone in this lower rounds. Man, this is a tough place to be, but I think I know who I want to select. Taylor Wilkerson here at pick 25. We're going to go a running back here. I want to add some more playmakers to this offense, and Taylor Wilkerson is a top 10 player in this draft, 7th in true talent. He comes out at normal development, but 90 speed. He's an elusive back, 6 foot, 215. I think he could do a little bit of everything. We don't have a running back on any long-term or multi-year deal, so Wilkerson will be the selection. I like him a lot. Jonathan Mater there, he was a consideration also. I decided to pass on him, so we'll see his ratings. But I think where we were and the players that I think we can get in the later rounds, I like Taylor. It really helps us out. What do you guys think of that selection? As the Chiefs, who did they select? They selected a tackle as well. So I'm going to now sim to our selection because I am not looking to trade up. So this is, of course, warranted here, or designed, or this was my decision. And quickly scanning, and I am not seeing anyone that I was really considering. So I think we, again, take the best player available. And here the second round, this might be a little bit of an earlier decision. He's supposed to go in day 3, but Bobby Brown here. Interesting talent. I want him. And we got him and he's ranked 30th. And he has great football IQ, 94 strength. He's a defensive tackle. And I definitely think that we just kind of replaced Elijah Chapman. I think we continue to help out our defensive line. I think we've made back-to-back smart picks. Current state of the board right now, as we enter into the third round, Casey James is going to be the selection. And again, we're going to stick with the trend of taking the best player available. And now we're going to help out the offensive line. We're basically kind of replacing Simon Oliver here. Casey James, hidden development as well. 87 strength, that's a much better strength than Simon Oliver was. And I think we got ourselves another good player. And our last pick here in the top 100s here in the third round. Making a trade here, trading away our third round pick this year, or this pick right now in our one of our 6. And we're picking up a 6, a 5, and a 4 from the Chiefs. Here in the fourth round, we're going to take a big receiver in Dwayne Williamson here. B-release here in the 4th round. Last pick here in the 4th round. Maybe a little bit of a reach here, but 88 speed. Giving ourselves another weapon here in the 4th. Not the best athlete, but 6'5". You can't teach height. And now we have a couple 5s here. Nathan Radley here, a projected UDFA, but I'm taking him here in the 5th round. A power moves. And we're getting a cut screen here. So we just drafted a pass rusher. And so far it's been offensive line, defensive line, and a couple weapons. And he's a top 100 player. Wow. I think Al Gordon here with our other 5th round selection. And C pick, 86 speed, 77 strength, not too bad. Back to the well of offensive weapons. We have now drafted a wide receiver, a running back, and a tight end. And we're gonna continue drafting weapons here. Z Claiborne here. Claiborne will be our, I believe, our last selection here in the draft. Oh, he's a deep threat. He has 94 speed, but I don't think we just drafted ourselves a good player. We do not have any more selections. And that will be the draft, ladies and gentlemen. We drafted a running back in the 1st round. I was not expecting myself to do so, but we got ourselves a running back. We got ourselves some more offense and defensive linemen and weapons. That was today's class. I mean, you know, drafting a defensive tackle, a pass rusher, a center, and then each level at receiver. Taylor Wilkerson, normal dev, but 77 overall. He's going to be a blast to play with. He can't catch worth diddly, but I think we got ourselves, for one, our future at running back. You let him be that 3rd or 2nd back. Allow Tyrone Tracy and David Montgomery to run the football, and now you add in Wilkerson. We have a 3-headed beast there. We added here in the 2nd round Bobby Brown, who is a pure run stopper. He reminds me a lot of Leonard Sapp here. And Bobby Brown here, he's probably going to be expected to play some significant snaps in my eyes. Happy selecting him. And then in the 3rd round, Casey James, best player on the board, hidden dev. And yeah, he's basically a younger Simon Oliver, basically. He's a pure pass protector, just like Simon Oliver was. He'll be a solid depth piece. Yeah. Dwayne Williamson here, 76 overall. He's a big body receiver. And now with him and Tyson Allen, we have 2 of the same type of archetypes as our backup receivers. And then when we move into the 5th round and we made a couple trades, Nathan Rainey here. He's a pass rusher, and I think we got an absolute steal. 77 power moves, 63 finesse. He might not be in the best in run stopping, but he's a pass rusher, and he can get to the quarterback. And I think for a season being the 3rd or 4th, we got ourselves a future there. Al Gordon here. I just liked his speed. I thought he could block well, and he can. He'll be a solid number 2 tight end for this, or number 3 tight end for this offense. And then we ended with taking Zeke Claiborne here, who is a pure deep threat, and that's what he can do. Maybe special teams for him, but that speed you cannot teach. What do you think of the draft, guys? No one below a 64. I think we got at least... All these guys will be contributors, especially our top 2 picks. Everyone else will probably make the roster, will probably make a play here or there, and that's exciting stuff. When we look at the draft class in its entirety, the quarterback, wow. Wayne here, the quarterback that was just selected to save the Tennessee Titans as a 66 overall. That is just sad when you think about it, because if you look at the other quarterbacks that went later, the Lions drafted themselves a 71. The Jets drafted themselves a 71 overall quarterback. There was a quarterback that was 72. I mean, there was quality players here, but I can't believe that. But Mario Weathers here was the best player in this class. He was my favorite player. Same thing here with Stan Bruce. These were 2 highly players that I really liked, but I also knew I would not be able to get them, so it was no skin off my bones. But when the top 4 players go in the first, 10 picks, it's tough. But I see Cameron Shelton here, 77 overall, went in the 2nd round. Same thing with, there was still talent out there at pick 25 if we wanted to go corner. Another player that I really like was Philip Black. He goes. And then there was a guard that I really liked. I forget his name. Steve Gore here, 74. Solid draft class. If you go by round, in the 2nd round, there was a bunch of 77s. Worst pick was to the Niners. 76 was out here in the 3rd round. 72 in the 4th, 5th, 75, 73 went in the 6th round, and then 68 was the best in the 7th. So what did you guys think of today's offseason? We were able to add some new talent, definitely some fun new players to this team. I think we did what we set out to do, guys. I mean, we gave ourselves a true number 2 wide receiver in Drake London. We gave ourselves security at the running back position, keeping Montgomery and drafting Taylor Wilkerson. And we even upgraded the offensive line. We brought in Elton Jenkins. We'll probably start Neal at tackle, but we also brought in Will Hernandez. We still have Darnell Randall. We just drafted Casey James. So our offensive line, in my opinion, is looking a lot better overall. Defensively, you can make your arguments, and one thing to note, Christian Branford went up to superstar. This is the one thing to note here. Our defensive line, the strength of its defense improved. We brought in Bobby Brown, Leonard Williams, and we brought in Rainey. We improved the defensive line, but our linebacking core definitely regressed here. I might pick up a couple more linebackers here, but Jamie Davis will no doubt probably be a linebacker this season for us. And corner is still a position where I think we'll probably bring in a veteran or 2. Regardless, I think this defense is still going to be very good. They're legitimate. We have 3 X factors at this defensive line. 3 superstars. It's still a very good defense without Okereke and without Chapman. And those are really the 2 losses with Devontae Banks as well. So don't forget, Evans plays corner. So I think we're good. Let me know down below what you thought of today's offseason. Please leave a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you in the next one.